Coming to you from deep inside the bowels of a great big empty. Get ready for another episode of The Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
And that was Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show, and I'm your host, Skip Coryell, author of 22 books, a Marine Corps veteran, founder of the Second Amendment March, proud father of 7, grandfather to 19 and counting. And as a special bonus, I'm also madly in love with my own wife. My priorities in life are God, family, and country in that order, and I hereby promise to never compromise in my convictions. I may go broke, but I'll never go woke. And joining me today is my faithful co-host, Sara Coryell, lover of dogs everywhere.
Everywhere.
Oh, lover, you have a dog in your lap right now.
Just looking at me like
Well,
that.
you know, I reached over to pat your leg, and I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty furry. All right. Well, hey, did you enjoy the tornado we had here a couple of days ago?
Enjoy might be a little strong, but it was memorable.
Well, yeah, lots of things are memorable. You know, World War II was memorable, but not something you want to go through.
Good and bad mixed together.
Oh, yeah. I did not sleep well at all. Folks, I need a fan. I need background noise to sleep. And when your power goes out, you don't get that. That first night was really bad for me. I slept like an hour.
Yeah, and you were kind of weird the next day.
But then we fired up the generator.
And we got my refrigerator nice and cold and lit.
Yep.
A dark refrigerator that's thawing is just not very fun.
Oh, and our way of taking a bath, we didn't have any water, obviously, but we have a well pump, a hand pump that goes down 106 feet, and boy, is that water cold. But we went out there, and Phoenix and I took baths, basically. You know, he would pump, and I'd get underneath it, and then I'd pump, and he'd get underneath it. And I got to tell you, I have never felt so alive in my entire life.
Yeah, Amethyst and I didn't do it that way.
But we got our electricity back on today, and I'm very happy about that.
Thank you, Consumers Energy and Cruise.
All right, Sara, what do we have on the show today?
Well, Skip, today we are talking to Brian Anderson. He is a Lyme disease prevention specialist and the creator of the Tic Terminator LLC. Then in the shootingclasses.com self-defense report, we'll be talking to firearms instructor Frank Scirpo from Connecticut.
Yeah, you guys are going to like both of those guests we have today. Frank Scirpo from Connecticut. We're going to break down a very unusual armed robbery. You know, how not to rob a liquor store. And then Brian and I, the Tic Terminator, he's like the Arnold Schwarzenegger of the insect world. It is great. You guys are going to love him. But before we get too far into the show, let's thank our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range, and Apple Tree Media. All right, Sara, what's on the news today?
This is a letter from Steve Doolin, Michigan Coalition for Responsible Gun Owners. He says, I have been a member of the MCRGO Board of Directors for 17 years. For the past few years, I've also been on the Board of Directors of the National Rifle Association. Since MCRGO has applied to become the NRA State Association for Michigan and is likely to be officially confirmed at the NRA annual meeting later this month, I feel it is appropriate to share some relevant information about the changes at the NRA over the past few years. The NRA was sued several years ago by Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, soon after she was elected, in part on campaign promises to dissolve the NRA. After great expense and pain, this suit has been nearly completely resolved at this time. There are still some court supervision issues, including possible restructuring of the NRA board, but it was ultimately a victory for the NRA, beating back the attempt to dissolve the corporation and eventually recovering over $4 million from the former EVP or CEO, Wayne LaPierre. Ackerman McQueen is long gone, and the very expensive Brewer law firm was finally let go recently. The Special Litigation Committee was formally dissolved at the last board meeting. New leaders have stepped up. The new CEO EVP is Doug Hamlin, a Marine veteran from Michigan with a long history of business efficiency and great ideas. I have spoken personally with him several times, and I believe he's the right guy for the job. The team is in a critical rebuilding year with a new head coach, a new GM, and many new board members, along with a few returning veterans, including former Congressman Bob Barr as president. His experience with diplomacy, herding cats, parliamentary procedure, and staying cool amidst vigorous debate has served us well already during the 12 and 14-hour board meetings since LaPierre's exit. There is a renewed energy, not just hope, but concrete plans for what we're calling the NRA 2.0. MCRGO, while remaining an independent organization with its own training program, looks forward to being part of this process as the new NRA State Association for Michigan. Steve Doolin, MCRGO, second vice chair.
Yeah, Sarah, the reason I had you read that is a couple of reasons. One, I wanted people to be up to date on what's happening at the NRA. I mean, we've relied on them since, 1870 or something like that. And I think they have their legal problems all settled now. And, it was very disappointing when, Wayne LaPierre did all the things that he did and all of that stuff. But he's gone now, and I think they have it reorganized, and we have our NRA back. And I just wanted to congratulate MCRGO for being the official NRA State Association for Michigan. So congratulations to MCRGO. All right, so Sarah, go ahead. Who's our home defense show hero of the week?
Good Samaritans save Florida mother and two small children from attempted kidnapper in dramatic video. A group of courageous Good Samaritans are being hailed as heroes after stepping in to save a woman and two small children from what could have been a devastating situation outside a Jacksonville, Florida Department of Motor Vehicles office. The incident took place March 12 in the parking lot of the DMV on North Main Street. According to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, witnesses saw a man attempting to drive away in an SUV while a woman desperately tried to remove her two young children, just 2 years old and 6 months, from the back seat. Investigators say the man, later identified as 26-year-old Yanni Human, was driving off against the woman's will, dragging her and one of the children through the parking lot. What happened next was nothing short of remarkable. More than a dozen Jacksonville Good Samaritans stepped in during a dangerous situation, potentially saving a mother and two children from serious injury or worse, the sheriff's office wrote in a Facebook post describing the incident. Without hesitation, bystanders rushed in, managing to pull the woman and children to safety as the vehicle continued moving. The man fled, but not before witnesses provided a detailed description and the SUV's license plate number to 911 dispatch. District 6 Task Force Sheriff's officers used that information along with surveillance footage to locate and arrest Human later that day at a nearby shopping center. He faces multiple felony charges, including child abuse and false imprisonment, as well as charges for battery, marijuana possession, and resisting an officer without violence. Authorities credit the quick thinking and bravery of the bystanders for preventing a potential tragedy. This situation could have ended in tragedy. Your Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is grateful for the quick action and bravery of the Good Samaritans who stepped up and helped bring the suspect to justice.
Yeah, this is one of the most remarkable things that I've seen in a long time, simply because for years now, we've been watching people become victimized, attacked, raped, stabbed, whatever, while people stand by and watch. But people are getting sick of it now. Yeah. And what I want the viewers to focus on is that if everyone hangs back, then people just mimic each other. It's like, but when one person steps forward,
people mimic that.
Yeah, good people follow. And it's like, so I guess our home defense show hero of the week for this week is the city of Jacksonville. All the citizens, because in that video, man, there's like 20 people stormed that van, and the more people came forward, the more other people came forward. So, if this ever happens to you, something like this, go forward and yell for help and say, hey, come help, come help, come help. And I think good people, I think they want to. They're just afraid, of getting hurt. They're afraid of getting in trouble. but it takes one person with a conscience and some courage to step forward, and then other people do the same thing.
That's great.
So God bless Jacksonville, Florida.
Good job, Jacksonville. And mom, the brave mom.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right?
Well, she was the one that started it all.
Well, it's her babies. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that was brave. She didn't just let it go. That was great. Can you explain how the 2-year-old was also being drugged? Like, how did that go? Because I didn't get to see the video.
Well, the mom was hanging out of the van. It was like an SUV, right? And her legs were being drugged, and she was holding on to the baby, and while she was being drugged, and the people came forward, and the bad guy, he got out, but then when he stopped and got out, but then when he saw 20 people coming towards him, he decided, I'm going to leave now. And so the Good Samaritans helped the woman out and the baby out, and it was all good. All right, so what's coming up in the next segment there?
Well, Skip, next we are talking to Brian Anderson. He's a Lyme disease prevention specialist and the creator of the Tic Terminator LLC. Then in the shootingclasses.com self-defense report, we'll be talking with firearms instructor Frank Scirpo from Connecticut.
In the meantime, God bless and stay safe, because I'll be back.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
At Center Shot Gun Range, we are passionate about training. Don't know where to start? We offer a 1-hour new shooter seminar to introduce you to the world of firearms and help you find training opportunities specific to you. Concealed carry, home defense, firearm safety, AR-15, private one-on-one training, custom training, or maybe you're on a security team looking to protect your church or business. We even offer weekday morning and evening classes. Center Shot Gun Range has you covered. Start your journey at centershotgunrange.com.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
Attention business owners. Are you leaving your website open to security issues and hacking due to a lack of maintenance or overseas outsourcing? Don't let that happen to your business. Choose experienced U.S.-based website developers that can customize your website to fit your specific needs. Appletree MediaWorks has been growing businesses online since 2009. With over 80 years of combined experience, their team conducts constant research and development to keep up with ever-changing online threats. Your website deserves the best protection available. Call Appletree MediaWorks today at 877-977-1364 to keep your website secure and grow your business online. Or visit appletree.media.
Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If this sounds good to you, you sound good to me, and I'd like to help you do those things. Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If you're looking for more excitement in your life, we have nothing to offer you. But if you are a thoughtful, responsible, nonviolent man or woman, we'd love to teach you what to do if something crazy happens. More importantly, we'd like to teach you what not to do. We currently have over 500,000 members. They are doctors and single moms and firemen and grandmothers and veterans and Democrats and Republicans and members of every faith. But the one thing they all have in common is that they know exactly what to do if something crazy happens. When you're with one of our members, you are safe. Our members know how to de-escalate situations. They know how to calm things down. We are the United States Concealed Carry Association. See what we're all about at usconcealedcarry.com.
Discover the little-known backstory of the U.S. Concealed Carry Association at usconcealedcarry.com.
He's no Einstein, but he can read and write and feed himself just like a big boy. Welcome back to the Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
And that was the beautiful and sultry voice of Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show. Folks, we live in a dangerous world, and I want you to be able to protect and defend the ones you love. And that's why I have this show. It's my way of empowering you to accomplish one of your primary jobs in life. You are a protector and a defender. Before we get too far into the show, don't forget to check out our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range, and Apple Tree Media. Without our sponsors, this show wouldn't be on the air, so we thank you all. All right, and now I want to welcome a special guest. He's Brian Anderson. He's a Lyme disease prevention specialist and the creator of the Tic Terminator LLC. Brian, welcome to the Home Defense Show.
Thanks for having me, Skip. It's always a joy to talk to you because we have a lot in common, a lot of history here a long time ago.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we haven't seen each other in person since college, have we?
Probably not, but I've seen you so many pictures of you, on different things over the years. I almost feel like
Oh, yeah. So you
still
grew
there.
up with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I look about the same. Do you remember Phil Walsh? Phil Walsh, he was a missionary kid from Bangladesh. When I was an RA, resident advisor there in Quincer Hall, he was my roommate. Yeah, he was a soccer star, right? Not like me, but he went mushroom hunting with me yesterday.
Really?
And so, oh yeah, we were talking about you because we were out there in Tic Central. And that's what we want to talk about today. This is the Home Defense Show. We teach people how to protect against all sorts of vermin, four-legged, two-legged, all of that, and dare I say it, even eight-legged vermin. Talk to me about ticks.
Well, I got to first of all say we fit so well into what you do there. If people could, well, they're not going to be able to see, obviously when they're listening to it, but going to my website, my logo is a tick in the shape of a hand grenade.
Oh,
why?
Yeah.
Because it's a war out there. And us recording this right now, I have a banner behind me. Skip, you just read the banner. Read it again, Skip. What does the banner say behind me?
It says, the Tic Terminator. It's a war out there. What is your ammunition?
I mean, how appropriate is that for guns and defense and all this kind of stuff?
Yes.
It just fits because I'm the Tic Terminator. That's what they call me. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, and it's a good title too. They have us outnumbered, don't they? Does anyone know how many ticks there are out there?
No, there's about 800 different species around the world. I know that.
That's a lot.
Unbelievable amount. In the United States, we have well less than 50 anyways, for sure. And there's only about 3 or 4 that really, really cause some havoc, or I should say maybe half a dozen, but they're probably, like mosquitoes, there's way too many of them. There's probably more mosquitoes, but there's plenty of ticks out there. Oh my gosh.
Well, they're so small. Sometimes it's even hard to see them. There are different kinds. Like there's this little kind of a reddish orange one that gets on me. And then there's the bigger black or brown ones. I just don't like things that suck out my blood. I know, call me fickle, but I just don't like bloodsuckers.
Oh. The ones that you first described the orange ones, those are probably the deer tick. Those are probably the word we call them a black-legged tick, but deer tick is what we kind of nickname them. And you have eastern black-legged tick and western black-legged, East Coast, West Coast, and they're the ones that get the most responsibility or most credit for carrying Lyme disease, which is probably one of the worst diseases you can get from ticks. So, and even their adults are smaller than the other one that you described is probably the American dog tick we call the wood tick. It's brownish, got some little kind of white stripes kind of in it, a little bit of kind of white stripes. But those are two very, very common ones here in Michigan. I live in Upper Michigan, of course. I'm the Yooper. But those are very, very common. And I tell people, I'll go real quick on the life cycle of a tick. A female tick gives birth in probably about another month and a half to about 1,000, 5,000 eggs. Okay. After a couple of weeks, they hatch out the eggs. They look for their first host, which is typically a white-footed mouse. They start sucking the blood on a white-footed mouse. That's where they get their germ. They're born disease-free. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So then they kind of chill out and they do whatever ticks do, which ain't a whole lot. And they just kind of, because that was their meal for the year, okay, off that white-footed mouse.
Wow.
And then they chill for the rest of the year, come out the next spring. Now they're the size of a poppy seed, teeny tiny poppy seed there next year. So they're looking for a host that year. Now, if they got Lyme disease the summer before when they were just basically a speck of brown on the ground, now they're the size of a poppy seed. And if they got Lyme that last year, now they're just as lethal as a full-grown adult. So you don't have to be big to be bad. You can be just as bad, even a tiny little tick. That could be on your shoelaces or your socks. You couldn't even see it. I mean, yeah, it's not even fair, but that's life, okay? So you got to be prepared. So they look for the host, suck on the blood. It could be us, some little varmint for, a couple of days. They suck on the blood, do whatever ticks do after that. They drop off. Come out the next year, they're the size of an adult. Now we got a shot. You got a chance to see them. Look for a host. Could be us. Could be some other big animal. Maybe it's a deer. The male and the female getting a deer.
They're not looking for radio host, are they? I hope.
No,
I hope not.
They don't care. They don't care what you do, man. They just want your blood.
Oh, I'm the host with the most, so I better be careful out there.
That last year, typically the females are the ones who get on us. The males rarely, but they'll get on deer, male and female. They'll suck the blood out of the deer. They'll stay on the deer, ride it through the winter. Then they'll mate. Then and next spring they get off. The male gets off. He dies. Female gets off. She gives birth anywhere between 1,000 to 5,000 eggs. That's enough to kill anybody. And then she dies. So their life expectancy is about 3 years if they eat once a year. So I gave you the real quick version there. They don't die in the winter either. Our winters aren't even near close to cold enough. They dive down under the leaf litter. So they kind of come and go with snow, as I tell people. That almost rhymes, come and go with snow.
Well, it sounds like there's really no way to eradicate ticks without eradicating everything else.
Well, I saw a very interesting thing on Instagram. It was by I think Drury Outdoors, or what, I don't have anything to do with them, but they showed a picture of burning a field. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I had to say something. I said, well, there won't be any ticks in that field for about 2 or 3 years because, hot heat there is going to kill them. I mean, the fire is going to kill them. So that's one way to eradicate them, but you can't do that to the whole forest. You know what I mean? So,
so it would take a nuclear holocaust to get rid of ticks, and even then, you wouldn't get rid of them.
Yeah, probably not. But
that doesn't sound fair. That's not fair.
I know it's not fair, But there are some animals that do like to eat them, like
chickens, maybe.
Oh, chickens, guinea hens, turkeys, things like that. Possums, grasshoppers will eat them too. But then the problem is, turkeys eat so many of those other insects too, like the praying mantises, grasshoppers, and ticks. So sometimes they think that turkeys eat so many of ticks' natural enemies that they're able to thrive more because they have fewer enemies. I mean, imagine that, turkey being a culprit for the explosion of ticks, possibly. Yeah. So they have less enemies because turkeys eat them. They're enemies.
Okay, just to give people some context, why do we even care about ticks? Is it talk about Lyme disease now?
Well, that's why. Yeah, I mean, because when we enjoy God's green earth, the beautiful creation that He's made for us, there's ticks out there, and we're just wander aimlessly, about the woods or wherever we're doing, having fun, whether it's picking up mushrooms or checking out deer stands or just hiking, backpacking, working out in the woods or grasses. Ticks can get on us. They sit on a blade of grass. They call it questing. And they're just opportunists that they're waiting for somebody to brush by. And then they get on and they start walking around on this mammal, whether it's animal or us, look for a good place to feast on us for a few days. And what they do on humans is they finally find that spot. And then they have a special little spit that they spit on us. Okay. That kind of numbs it up so we can't even feel when they bite us. It's just not fair.
That is diabolical.
I know.
They're not fighting fair.
I know. Huh. At least they should. They don't even. It's like hitchhikers. You know what I mean? They don't even ask permission, but that's what they do. Yeah. And but it's up to us to every day. When we're out in those circumstances, those situations and that kind of habitat, to really do a thorough tick check, even if you've prepared. With the permethrin and stuff like that, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But yeah, that's why
about the tick check. That interests me because I go out mushroom hunting in the spring a lot. I was just out yesterday. They seem to get in the middle of my back where I can't reach them, or up by my scalp. Well, what are the favorite places that ticks like?
Well, let's just say this. In my time doing this, Skip, I have heard a story from every imaginable place, whatever you're thinking. Yup, even there too.
Oh no.
I'm not kidding. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but I'll just lay that out. And let's say this: any place where there is skin, they can apt to be there. I've had them on the sole of my foot, in between my toes, around my hairline. I haven't had them in any of the unmentionable places. But doing tick checks, very important. Stand in front of a mirror just before you get in the shower and check every place. Let's just say that way, okay, just to be safe. Yeah. And another nice tip here that people haven't heard of before: if you come home and let's say you have ticks on your clothes, all right, you haven't treated your clothes yet, and you forgot with those clothes. You come home and you find one tick crawling on your clothes. Well, guess what? There's probably another one there too. So you think, man, what should I do? Well, here's what you do. You stand in front of the dryer, throw your clothes in the dryer on high for about 15 minutes. That dry heat will kill all the ticks on there. Then you can put them in the washer. Put them in the dryer first. Great tip. Love to hear that.
You mean putting them in the washing machine, running through for about 45 minutes, spin cycle, rinse, detergent, that won't kill a tick?
No, it's not hot enough. No, they can survive that easily, but not the dryer.
Gosh.
Not the dryer.
I can't survive that.
You're not a tick.
No, I'm not a tick. That is worth the ticket to get into this show. That one tip, a tick tip.
Tick tidbits.
All right. What does Lyme disease do to you? Why is it so nasty?
Oh man,
Didn't you have a friend who died from Lyme disease?
Almost. He almost died. I mean, it puts people in wheelchairs sometimes. A Lyme disease, they call it, is the great imitator. It imitates fibromyalgia. I mean, even some people that have MS, actually the root cause is actually Lyme disease. It's very, I mean, it just sucks the energy right out of you. I mean, some people get blurry vision, Bell's palsy of the face hang,
Wow.
Aching joints, flu-like symptoms. I tell people, if you're just outdoors and you come back and you got bit by a tick, watch that tick bite. Okay. I tell people, even it's important the way you take a tick off. Even let's back up to that. You got a tick stuck, which you want to fight the urge to just pull it off with your fingers. Okay. Because when you do that, you're kind of grabbing it by the whole body and you're kind of squeezing the bad stuff into you at the point you're trying to take it out. So you want to grab at the very base, right next to the skin with a fine tip tweezers if you can, and then just take it off like that, barely grabbing the body itself. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. So
watch that bite. I mean, if it has any kind of bad reaction, I mean, we know how we react sometimes to stuff. Bullseye rash is if it's got that, I mean, that is a telltale sign that it's probably Lyme disease. If you start feeling funny, that day or the next day, if it swells up, any kind of bad reaction, don't just think about seeing a doctor. You need to see a doctor within those next few days. And they should go in there and hopefully maybe you saw the tick, took a picture of it, or saved it even too. You can send them in for, doing tick checks. All the stuff is in my book, especially it's in my website too, the ticterminator.com. But you want to get that taken care of soon. The doctor will more than likely put you on a very general antibiotic called doxycycline that they use for all kinds of things. It is great for Lyme disease. And in almost every case, if you do it early detection, early treatment, it's going to take the Lyme disease away and you won't have it. But if you wait and just try to suck it up, you're feeling like crap for months and months, then you're probably going to be stuck with it for life. It's do it in the beginning. I can't scroll. That makes sense. I got a tick even right here in my hand. See that, Skip? I wish people could see it.
Wow. Well, that's cute anyways.
Well, look at this. I have a baby one even too. I mean, I have the Tic Terminator.
If I saw a tick, either one of those, out in the woods, I'd be pulling out my 9mm.
You should, yeah.
Yes. I'd be aiming center of exposed mass.
You can blow it apart, but I tell people, pull the tick up at the very base like this, anyway. So that's like you were talking about. So,
well, I got one on my back about a little over a week ago, and I didn't know any better, so I just reached back and and I just pulled it off. It was embedded, but it hadn't been there for, I don't know, maybe 2 hours, maybe, because I'd been out mushroom hunting, and I pulled it out, and that was it. Now there's a little red spot back there, but there's no bullseye rash like you were talking about. And as far as how am I feeling, no goofier than normal.
okay.
So I just gotta wait and see what happens, right?
Yeah, I mean, more than likely, it's probably fine. You know what kind of tick it was? Was it that brownish one with a little white kind of on it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was the bigger one, not the orange
Yeah,
one, the bigger one.
yeah. So I mean that they don't carry Lyme disease. They carry other ones too. But I mean, a tick can carry more than one disease even too. But it would have started to manifest something. I mean, not every tick bite is going to be bad, but I'm just warning people about the ones that are bad. When you do have bad reactions, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So Lyme disease bad, ticks bad. What is good? You talked about prevention.
Yeah. I call myself a tick and Lyme disease prevention specialist. That's what really got me going when my buddy almost died from it, almost 10 years ago. I'm a big proponent in a product called permethrin. The cool thing about permethrin is you can spray it on your clothing. You're supposed to do it outside, we're on a clothesline, downwind, stuff like that. And you spray it on so that the clothing kind of gets damp. All right. The cool thing I love about permethrin, I call it vitamin P for your clothes. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And it when you spray it on, it binds to the fabric, make it so it kind of looks damp as you're spraying it on. And then you let it dry. I say let it dry overnight. Do your pants and shirts, all outer clothing. And the cool thing, you don't have to put it on every day. I mean, I treat my clothes literally for 3 to 4 months at a time. That means 12 weeks and 12 washes through the laundry. All right. Before I put it on again. We have the only one on the market like that. You can get permethrin in the store, but this here is the most cost effective that there is because it's a concentrate. You mix them up in a bottle, pour some in a bottle. The more you put in the bottle, the longer it will last on your clothing. So it saves your permethrin cost by like 50%. It's some really cool stuff, but that's the nature of permethrin. They call it a contact repellent. That means ticks and little insects don't notice until they come in contact with it, as opposed to like DEET and picaridin, which are good for your skin. I'm sure you've heard of that. We've all used off at some point. It's like 25% DEET. Wonderful product. Okay. And now the way DEET works is when mosquitoes come closer, they can smell the scent, the smell, the aroma. They smell that in the DEET, and it tricks their little antennas and says, hey, man, there's no blood there. So they fly off. So that works by the smell. The way permethrin works is they have to come in contact with it. Then they notice it. I mean, this past Saturday, I was out at my mom. She lives in the woods. And I saw a tick on my pants. I said, "Oh, cool!" So I'm watching it. Yeah, only I would say that, right? So I'm watching it crawl up my pants, and I know my pants obviously were treated with permethrin. And it started out about my mid shin and gets up to my knee and a little bit past my knee, and then it starts turning in circles because it starts noticing, especially the permethrin. So it starts going back down again, and then it starts to do what I call the drunk walk or the drunk look because it's rocking back and forth. The permethrin is really working on it, and then it falls off, and then she's dead. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So that's the way permethrin works. As the more they crawl on it, the longer they're going to be affected by it, and then they drop off. So at the end of the day, you don't hardly have any ticks on you because the permethrin worked on their nervous system and drove them nuts. If they walk that far, they normally don't make it to my belt line. But if they did, and then if they did happen to get in the skin, they're going to be so incapacitated because the damage that the permethrin has done to their body that they won't be able to suck blood from me anyways.
Wow.
So permethrin is the best defense that there is out there for ticks.
Well, it sounds like it works exactly like Donald Trump on a Democrat. They start spinning in circles, blood starts shooting out their eyeballs, and they just fall right off onto the ground. So, wow, that's a good tick tip there.
I never thought of it that way.
Well,
We can have a whole other session about how great Trump is doing, man. I just love it. Oh my gosh.
and
I love
most of my listeners do too.
All those Doge reports we were getting at the beginning of the year, I think, oh my gosh, this is so overdue. Well, anyways, I can't go up.
Okay, well, you mentioned that you have the best kind of permethrin. Is that on your website?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's called Duration 10%. It's a concentrate that you mix at home, and depending on how long you want to last. Let's say the kids are going to summer camp and you want to treat their clothes before they go there. So you just put a little bit in there. All right. And let's say and treat their clothes, shake it up in a bottle that's all supplied and everything comes in a kit. Or let's say you got your hunting clothes that you go out and watching your food plots and you're looking for maybe deer habitat this summer and the fall. Treat those clothes for 3-4 months. You know what I mean? Whatever. Turkey hunters especially should have it. I mean, they sit in tick habitat.
Yeah,
hunting.
that's right. Yeah. Well, yesterday, Phil and I were out there mushroom hunting, and we stumbled onto this clear cut, and it must have been like a 10-acre clear cut, and it had grown up with raspberries and briars, autumn olive, rose bushes, and we're on our hands and knees trying to crawl through this to get to the other side, and it took us over an hour to get out of that place. And I'm thinking, man, there's got to be ticks all over the place. But I had kind of saturated myself with permethrin, and I came home. I didn't have any ticks on me at all. I don't know about Phil, but I was tick free. Permethrin, is that like some of the other chemicals where you get cancer or you grow a third eyeball or something like that?
No. It's been around since 1973. Military use it in all their uniforms.
But they used Agent Orange too.
I know. You're a Marine anyway, so
yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, the worst that would happen, and let's say you're supposed to spray your clothes when they're off on the clothesline or laying flat, because that way there's no wrinkles in them. Okay. But let's say you get some overspray on your hand, just wash it off. The worst would happen, it may turn a little red, and then it's gone in a day or two. But it's no big repercussions at all.
Okay, but not to be used orally, right?
Oh, yeah. Permethrin is only for clothing and gear, not for your skin. That's where the DEET and picaridin are good for that kind of stuff. All right.
All right. Well,
it even works. I had a black fly land on my thigh a couple of years ago, and it was entertaining. It was so cool to watch this black fly high stepping on my. They call it the hot feet syndrome. It's like it was on coals. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's stepping around my permethrin treated jeans because it's thinking if that thing could talk and say, "What the heck did I just land on here, man? This stuff is terrible." So it flew off, and I say, "Cha-ching! I won because I didn't get bit." The mosquito would do the same thing. It's too uncomfortable for them, on a garment, whether it's a shirt or pants, something like that. So they're going to fly off too.
Brian, I want you to talk about your website for a minute. You have the coolest website that I've seen in a long time.
It's just been updated, and kudos to the lady who did it, which was wonderful. But yeah, you can see it, the TicTerminator.com. I've got some cool stuff on there. It's all about ticks and prevention. And you can see there's a lady, a backpacker, in a little video that comes on there. I do a lot with backpackers because they treat their clothing and their gear, their packs, their tents, all that kind of stuff. I had a lady do the Appalachian Trail there a couple years ago. She's listed on there too. But yeah, they're even on there. You can get the product that I'm just talking about there, or you can also let's say there's a hunter or anybody who's outdoors type of person, whether that's golfing or hunting or mushroom hunting, and they have a birthday coming up or maybe Father's Day, and you want to get them some kind of gift. But what do you get them? Well, we now have the first in the world a tick prevention gift box.
Yeah, for the man who has everything, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have this.
He doesn't have that probably, so it's got the box of permethrin, a little bottle of DEET, and of course my book, called Winning the War on Ticks. Those three things are in there. So they save a little bit by buying them all together. And it's a very unique gift box. So the book I wrote just a couple of years ago now, and I know you're a big author too. I've written I've read many of your books. You're a great author. But anyways, I wanted to call the book Ticks Suck. All right.
Okay.
But I got outvoted to the 2 top, women in my life. Maybe my wife and my mom, who helped to edit it. So we had to call it Winning the War on Ticks. Maybe the next book will be Ticks Suck. I don't know. But I got to tell you this, my license plate and my wife's license plate both say Ticks Suck.
Uh-huh.
Hers ends with a C and mine ends with a K. So, I mean, I thought that was pretty romantic to have matching plates,
That's right. All right. Winning the War on Ticks, the TicTerminator.com, permethrin, all this stuff out there. Sounds to me like we can all win the war on ticks if we just get educated and do what's in your book and do what you've told us to write today.
Yeah. Like I say, think ahead and kill them dead,
Oh, yeah. I love that. That'd make a good T-shirt.
I just came up with that thought yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Think ahead and kill them dead.
Okay. The listeners can't see this, but I can see the T-shirt that you're wearing. Can we buy a T-shirt like that? Because that is an incredible T-shirt.
I'm going to put those on my website here probably this summer because people keep asking. I'm thinking, does people really want to buy this shirt? But people ask about it, So I've got my hat on here too. My Tic Terminator hat, you can see there.
Yep. Yeah, I'd love to have that. It's like you're like the Arnold Schwarzenegger of the insect world. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The TicTerminator.com. Any final words?
I got a poem I wrote about ticks. Of course, I'm a poet,
Oh, so you are an artsy fartsy guy. Go ahead.
We'll end with this. Goes like this. I hate them little suckers. I want to terminate them all. So I do it with permethrin and love to watch them fall. From head to toe, I spray the stuff. My shoes, socks, clothes, and hats, because it works on more than ticks, like skeeters, chiggers, and even gnats. So I ask you, if you're listening, to keep away from Lyme, get started with permethrin, and now is the perfect time. Thank you.
That is good. I had to stifle my laughs while you were doing that.
I speak around the country in this here too. I always, and people laugh and clap at the same time. They think, "What on earth did we just see? This guy is nuts." It makes sense.
Yeah, but you're my kind of nuts. So that's okay. All right. The website is the TicTerminator.com. Brian Anderson. Brian, we've got to get together. Do you ever get down into the Lower Peninsula?
On occasion, I do. We have some relatives in Detroit area, and you're away from that though, I think, aren't you?
Oh yeah, it's south of Grand Rapids.
Yeah, that's a ways from there.
Well, maybe I'll just have to come up to the Upper Peninsula then.
Yeah.
I love the UP. It's a great place. The people are different up there, but my kind of different.
You cross that bridge. It's cross the bridge and it's different. Yeah, I like that.
All right. Okay. Well, Brian, thank you very much for being on the Home Defense Show today. We appreciate all that you do.
Thanks for having me.
All right, folks. This is Skip Coryell on Home Defense Show. Coming up next, we'll have the shootingclasses.com self-defense report with firearms instructor Frank Scirpo from Connecticut, where we will get some expert advice on the details of self-defense. But during the break, I want you to log into rumble.com and search on the Home Defense Show. I've posted a series of entertaining and educational videos there just for you. Check them out and don't forget to like, share, and follow. God bless and stay safe. Watch out for those slimy ticks, because we will be right back.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
At Center Shot Gun Range, we are passionate about training. Don't know where to start? We offer a 1-hour new shooter seminar to introduce you to the world of firearms and help you find training opportunities specific to you. Concealed carry, home defense, firearm safety, AR-15, private one-on-one training, custom training, or maybe you're on a security team looking to protect your church or business. We even offer weekday morning and evening classes. Center Shot Gun Range has you covered. Start your journey at centershotgunrange.com.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
Attention business owners. Are you leaving your website open to security issues and hacking due to a lack of maintenance or overseas outsourcing? Don't let that happen to your business. Choose experienced U.S.-based website developers that can customize your website to fit your specific needs. Appletree MediaWorks has been growing businesses online since 2009. With over 80 years of combined experience, their team conducts constant research and development to keep up with ever-changing online threats. Your website deserves the best protection available. Call Appletree MediaWorks today at 877-977-1364 to keep your website secure and grow your business online. Or visit appletree.media.
Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If this sounds good to you, you sound good to me. And I'd like to help you do those things. Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If you're looking for more excitement in your life, we have nothing to offer you. But if you are a thoughtful, responsible, nonviolent man or woman, we'd love to teach you what to do if something crazy happens. More importantly, we'd like to teach you what not to do. We currently have over 500,000 members. They are doctors and single moms and firemen and grandmothers and veterans and Democrats and Republicans and members of every faith. But the one thing they all have in common is that they know exactly what to do if something crazy happens. When you're with one of our members, you are safe. Our members know how to de-escalate situations. They know how to calm things down. We are the United States Concealed Carry Association. See what we're all about at usconcealedcarry.com.
Discover the little-known backstory of the U.S. Concealed Carry Association at usconcealedcarry.com.
They say he eats crayons and his knuckles drag on the ground, but that's only half true. Welcome back to the Home Defense Show with Skip Coriel.
And that was the beautiful and sultry voice of Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show, and I'm your host, Skip Coriel. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, Appletree Media, and Center Shot Indoor Gun Range for all your training and equipment needs. And now it's time for our weekly self-defense report, sponsored by shootingclasses.com. And today we're speaking with self-defense instructor Frank Scirpo from the great state of Connecticut. Frank, thanks for coming back onto the Home Defense Show today.
My pleasure, Skip. It's always a good time.
Yeah, it is. And I have a feeling we're going to have a really good time today because, man, the crime that we're going to be talking about today is really kind of bizarre.
Yes, it is. The whole thing is bizarre.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we launch right into that, give us like 15 seconds on what you do there in Connecticut, Frank.
Well, I am a longtime firearms instructor. I teach a lot of self-defense and shooter improvement stuff, and I've been doing it probably since the early 2000s. And that's just it. I teach. That's my sole thing besides family. It's teaching firearms. And
you're with Patriot Performance Shooting.
Yep, my company's Patriot Performance Shooting. You can find it on at my website or on shootingclasses.com. You can see my classes there. I have a whole host of self-defense classes: rifle, shotgun, handgun, and combo classes.
All right, fantastic. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read this article, and just hold on to your butts because this one gets a little bit wild here. Here we go. This is from Marionville, Missouri. Quick draw clerk turns into big time sensation. After working the Labor Day holiday, Thursday was supposed to be John Lewis Alexander's first day back at his job as a liquor store clerk. He had to take the day off, though. Video footage of Alexander calmly and quickly pulling his 9mm handgun Sunday on an armed would-be robber who then backed out of the store has been picked up by outlets around the world, and the subsequent attention shuffled the Iraq veterans' plans for the week. Quote, "Ever since you all did the story, it's been interesting," Alexander, age 54, told the news leader Wednesday. The first story about the incident was printed Tuesday. Alexander said that he planned to spend Tuesday and Wednesday moving. He and his wife are moving to a new home in Marionville. After dealing with a few more interviews, including one with NRA News, he hoped to get around to the moving on Thursday. On Tuesday, radio personality Glenn Beck tweeted about Alexander, saying, "Best line in any story I've read in a while. See what he says about his wife." Outlets from the Huffington Post to CBS News to the UK's Daily Mail posted about the incident. Conservative website The Daily Caller went with the simple headline of "How Not to Rob a Store." A video provided by store owners Max and Janine Dawson to the News Leader containing surveillance footage of the incident had been viewed more than 700,000 times since it was posted Monday, including views in which the video was embedded on other websites. Other media outlets have also independently obtained the footage from the Dawsons. On Wednesday, Alexander told the New York Daily News, "I've been around weapons and been around danger a lot. It didn't really bug me that much." Police have confirmed they are investigating the incident, but no arrests have been made. Alexander said Wednesday that he was shown a photo lineup and positively identified the suspect. Through the years, Alexander has had several jobs considered high risk. He's had 4 tours of duty in Iraq and was in the military for 3 decades. He's also worked as a prison guard and a private investigator. All right, that's the guy, John Lewis Alexander. All right, you know, what are your initial thoughts? So first, just give the people exactly what did you see in the video?
So the customer or the robber comes in, and it is robbery because it's going to be with a threat with violence and a firearm. So he comes in and he pulls a gun with his right hand and starts leveling it towards the clerk. Right when he starts to get the gun about level, the clerk reaches out with his left hand, either try to grab it or push it away as he draws his pistol off his hip with his right hand and stick it in dude's face. I mean, the video is pretty quick. It's probably a 10-second from the time the guy draws his gun, the bad guy, to the time the clerk draws his gun and the dude walks out. It's probably like 10 seconds. It wasn't a long encounter.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. That was a wild one.
Yes, it is.
I've never seen anything like that before on video. I mean, that doesn't mean it's never happened. It just means that I've never seen that on video, a real life thing like that. So have you seen anything like that?
Not like this. I mean, I've seen shootouts in stores like this. I've seen robberies in stores like this on videos, and I've seen clerks draw guns and get in shootouts. I've never seen this though. This is a new one for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, what are your initial thoughts on the robber, on the store clerk, his performance? What are your initial thoughts?
When I first watched this, the first thing I was thinking is, I mean, this gentleman has a lot of experience, right? He was in Iraq. We don't know if he was a combat veteran. It doesn't tell us that. So he could have done 4 tours as a clerk, right?
Yeah, could have.
But nonetheless, he did spend 30 years in the military, so he's been around firearms, because if you're in the Army, you're at least shooting a couple times a year, even if you're not in a combat arms, right? And prison guards aren't normally around guns, but he could have been one of the armed prison guards at any point in time and stuff like that. So he definitely has some experience. But my initial thought was, this guy's lucky he didn't get shot as well. And shoot the other guy and get shot, because I don't classify this guy based off the video as like what I would call a hardened criminal. If that was like what I would consider more of a hardcore criminal, who doesn't care when a gun's pointed in his face, I think this could have gone bad for the clerk as well as the robber.
Yeah, I agree with you, Frank. This was it was just really weird the way it all folded out. I mean, the bad guy comes in, he's right-handed, he starts to lift up his pistol to level it. Clerk reached out with his left hand, and I don't think he didn't touch the gun, no. but the robber kind of pulled the gun back, right? Probably it was just a reaction, right? No, instinct. You're not going to take my gun,
right?
But he didn't expect this Alexander guy to pull out
No.
his own gun.
Yep.
And he did it simultaneously. He reached
Yeah.
out with his left while drawing with his right.
Yep.
And I think what that tells me is he's thought about this before.
Yeah, well, I think it says he's been robbed before,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I read one of the articles I read said he's been robbed before, and being in the military, he's probably pretty good with planning. One thing the military does is a lot of planning. They teach you how to think ahead, how to come up with plans, and he's probably mentally rehearsed this in some fashion, I would guess, knowing with what his careers were. He's probably rehearsed this in his head because as prison guards, you're going to rehearse stuff. Okay, if prisoner A does this, prisoner B does that, I'm going to do this. Which is great. Mental training is an excellent thing. He's probably done that, being that he's sick and tired, as he says, of getting robbed at gunpoint.
Yeah. Well, and the jobs that he's had, dangerous jobs.
Right.
I mean, fighting in, possibly fighting in Iraq, and private investigator, prison guard, and liquor store clerk.
Right.
That's a dangerous job too.
Yeah, this seems more dangerous than the other jobs.
Yeah. It's just not one that you associate readily or automatically with firearms is all.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. It's very, very interesting. And both these guys, I think, are lucky that neither of them flinched and pulled the trigger.
Yeah, it could have ended poorly for both of them or either of them, depending on who pressed the trigger first, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, they could, exactly. And who got shot where,
Yeah.
I mean, if the bad guy's getting shot, it's in the face. He pretty much pushed the gun into the dude's mouth for the most part.
Yeah, that's right.
With his finger on the trigger, mind you.
Yeah. Did you notice what kind of gun the clerk had?
I could not tell, but it says a Walther PPK in the article.
That's a serious pistol.
Yeah, it's usually 380. If they got it right, if it is a Walther PPK, it's usually a 380. I think I saw one place at a PPK and once at a PPC, but how the media is, they don't really know guns that well. So.
Well, yeah, that's true. But a headshot from a quarter of an inch away.
Yeah,
you don't need a 45.
Right, you don't need a 22 will probably do it at that point.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Well, it was just really interesting to see the total lack of startle response.
Yes.
It's almost like the clerk was waiting for him to do that. It's like in his mind, he's thinking, oh, it's about time someone tried to rob me again.
Yeah. Yeah. His lack of being startled and his quick initiation to act would probably lead me to believe that he's probably been around at least in the combat arms field when he was in the military for 30 years, or at least something dealing with that kind of stuff, whether it's military MP, a prison guard, or infantry or something like that. Because he like you said, it was, hey, there's a gun, let me push it away, let me draw my gun.
Yeah. Well,
which is what you see from a lot of professionals who've been doing it for a long time and are used to seeing situations that get used to not startling, and they just drive into act mode.
Yeah. Would you recommend this to the average CPL holder?
No, not at all. I mean, first, money is not worth your life, right? There was a short stint I did armored car work before being a police officer, and I could tell you right now, if I felt like I wasn't going to get shot and I could give them the money and they'd leave, that's what's going to happen. There's no property. No property is worth a hospital visit or your life. But I'm not, but I'm also big into protect yourself as well. If you have this kind of job, just mentally prepare for it. But man, I'll tell you what, reaching for that gun, he's lucky that guy didn't startle and put a round into his abdomen. It's not uncommon.
I think probably most instructors would say, all right, feign compliance, or comply, and look for an opportunity for a counter ambush of some type.
Yeah. Press the attack. Go from being the person being attacked to going onto the attack and having to make them now respond to you. I'd say, if I was telling people and somebody said, hey, I work I work like at a job like this, I'd be like, well, first thing you want to do is start creating distance, put something between you and that person. And then once you start getting something between you and them, and you're feigning response, like you said, then if you felt you needed to draw a firearm and defend yourself, that's the time to do it. I wouldn't say 2.5 feet or a foot and a half away from a person while trying to grab their guns, probably the best method. But in this case, it worked out. I have a feeling part of it's luck, but
Yeah.
luck gets people
Well,
through a lot of problems.
yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's the way he did it that made it successful.
Right.
Because it was like, can you get any more decisive than that?
Yeah. He acted immediately.
He acted immediately. There was no startle.
Yep.
Talk about your OODA loop, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
this that guy didn't have an OODA loop. He just said, okay,
He went right into act.
and I act. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I tell my students is that if you can do that, if you can pre-decide what you're going to do in a given situation, then you're not going to have that startled response, and you're going to have a better chance in most situations. Not in every situation, but in most situations. But what do you think the robber is thinking right now? For all we know, he's still out there.
No, I think he picked him out in a lineup, so I'm hoping they got him at this point. But
well, I hope so too.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's like, man, I picked the wrong store.
I picked the wrong store, and it's like maybe I should get into a different line of work, or maybe I should do it differently next time.
Yeah, I don't want to give him any clues on how to do it better. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, I hope they caught the guy, because we don't want a well-educated store
right
robber.
Exactly.
But all right, well, what do you think about one thing that I noticed, okay, with the Mr. Alexander, is he immediately seemed to go on the air and take interview after interview on television and radio and all of that. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't have a problem with it, per se. I mean, if the police finish their investigation and he's determined to be the victim, why not get on and tell people, hey, I used a firearm to defend myself, and make it like this is what they're about, right? And you can do that too, as well. So I didn't have a problem with him getting on and telling his story. I mean, I'm sure I would guess maybe he was like, if I was doing it and they wanted an interview, I'd be like, well, what are you going to pay me to do the interview? Honestly, I'd be like, what am I going to get out of it, right? Because you're going to take me and put me on the TV to make money for yourself, knowing the news. I mean, that's what I would have done if I was him. I'd be like, well, I'll do it, but I want something from this too,
Yeah, maybe a bidding war or something.
There you go.
Something like that. And probably, but you raised a good point. Wait until after the police have done their investigation.
Right.
Otherwise, you could be saying things that might, get you in trouble with a prosecutor or something.
I mean, I was a police officer for 21 years, and the last thing you want to do is say anything in public that you didn't say to the police. Assuming you're always telling the police the truth, you are your lawyer, right? Through your lawyer, but you don't want to say something. All of a sudden, they're like, the prosecutor's trying to make a decision. He sees you on the news and he's like, wait, what was that he just said? And all of a sudden the decision goes from being for you to being against you,
Yeah. Well, and a lot of it depends on the jurisdiction too. I'm guessing that Marionville, Missouri is probably gun friendly.
I would think so.
But someplace like St. Louis, Missouri,
that's true.
That's very anti-gun. I'd shut up and say, give me my lawyer till you guys are done dinking around. Well, it was very interesting, and it was entertaining.
It is
as well.
It
I'm just glad that Mr. Alexander didn't get shot.
Yeah.
And hopefully they caught the bad guy.
Yeah, let's hope.
All right.
Definitely.
All right. Tell people again, Frank, how they can get a hold of Patriot Shooting.
There's a Patriot Performance Shooting, my website. That's the name. And then you can also find me on shootingclasses.com. And I'm on social media, Instagram and Facebook under Patriot Performance Shooting. So they can go to any of those platforms and see what I'm about, watch videos, and see what my classes are like, sign up for my classes, and come on out and shoot. And if you want to host a class, I do travel. So I'm always willing to come out to ranges and host classes.
All right, Frank, that sounds good. Thank you very much for your analysis and for coming on the Home Defense Show today.
Awesome. Thank you, Skip. It's always a pleasure.
All right, folks, that about wraps it up for this week's show. I've had a good time, and I hope you have too. Please don't forget to thank our sponsors, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range at centershotgunrange.com, shootingclasses.com to help you find the right trainer for your needs, Apple Tree Media for website security, and the United States Concealed Carry Association. For all your self-defense needs, go to uscca.com. I've written 20-plus books, and they're all available on Amazon.com in paperback, ebook, and audiobook. This week, check out my book, Self-Defense Scenarios, Staying Alive in a Dangerous World. And also check out the Home Defense Show videos on Rumble.com. And if you want training from me in person, then check out Midwest Tactical Trading at shootingclasses.com. Please join us again next week for all your home defense needs. In the meantime, God bless and stay safe.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Home Defense Show. Now, get out there and protect the ones you love. We'll see you next week with more of the best.
Bye-bye, boys!
Have fun storming the castle!